A market can look busy and still be frozen. Full marinas, increasing online listings, boat shows that still draw crowds. This is the illusion of activity. Average days on market are rising, and deal velocity is slowing. Liquidity is not the same as price. Liquidity means the ability to convert a boat into cash quickly and reliably without taking a large loss. Price is simply the number buyers and sellers assign to a boat. The market can appear alive, while the ability to turn boats into cash has quietly broken down. Dealer lots stretch row after row, packed with new boats gleaming under the sun. Marinas brim with docked vessels, while online platforms show a steady stream of fresh listings. Boat shows still draw crowds and fill event halls. On the surface, the market appears vibrant. Activity is everywhere you look. Yet beneath this visible bustle, a different reality is taking shape. In late 2025, a national dealer survey found that 58% of dealers reported their new boat inventory as too high. Only 4% described it as too low. High inventory was once a sign of strength, a hedge against missed sales. Now, it signals a growing disconnect between what is on offer and what is actually moving. Many dealers point to sluggish turnover, with boats sitting unsold for months, even as their lots appear full. Listing counts have climbed steadily, outpacing the number of buyers ready to commit. Used inventory is less imbalanced but still elevated, with 1/3 of dealers reporting excess. The numbers tell a clear story. Inventory is building, but cash is not flowing at the same pace. Dealers describe a sense of unease. One day, a family tours 5 models and leaves without making an offer. Another day, a trade-in arrives, but the old boat lingers in the yard. The energy of the boom years remains visible, but the underlying market mechanics have shifted. This is not simply a matter of falling prices. It's about the growing difficulty of turning boats into cash. The question is no longer how many boats are in stock, but how quickly, and at what cost, they can be converted into real sales. Liquidity, in economic terms, is the ability to turn an asset into cash quickly and with minimal loss of value. In the context of the boat market, liquidity is not about how many boats are listed or how many people visit showrooms. It is about how fast a boat can actually be sold and cash collected. The distinction matters. High inventory or active listings can give the appearance of a lively market, but if boats linger unsold, liquidity has dried up, regardless of list prices. The contrast between recent years is sharp. In 2021, dealers routinely described scenarios where a new center console or wake boat would attract multiple offers within 48 hours. Buyers lined up, paperwork was completed in days, and boats often changed hands before even hitting the lot. A dealer in the Southeast recalls, "We'd get a delivery on Friday, and by Monday, the boat was gone." By 2026, those same boats can sit for 90, 120, even 180 days before closing a sale. Listings that once vanished in a weekend now stretch through entire seasons. The average days on market for a mid-size cruiser in the Midwest has climbed from around 70 days in 2021 to 130 days in 2025. In the Southeast, pontoons that used to turn in 6 weeks now remain on lots for 3 months or more. This slowdown is not simply about falling prices. It is the result of friction in the cash conversion process, buyers waiting, deals stalled by financing, and sellers holding out for old numbers. Liquidity, not just value, has become the constraint. Understanding this shift is essential for anyone trying to read between the lines of a seemingly active market. In 2021, buyers with strong credit could expect a rate near 5%. By 2025, that same borrower faces an average annual percentage rate of 7.25%. The effect is clear when looking at monthly payments. For a $120,000 boat financed over 10 years with 10% down, The payment at 5% was about $1,202. At 7.25%, it rises to $1,260, a difference of nearly $700 per year before factoring in higher insurance and taxes. For many households, that extra cost is enough to pause or abandon a purchase altogether. Loan terms have also tightened. Lenders now expect higher credit scores, often 660 or above, and are less willing to stretch on loan-to-value ratios. Approval cycles take longer, with more paperwork and stricter documentation. The pool of buyers able to clear these hurdles is shrinking, especially for entry-level and mid-tier boats, where financing makes up most of the purchase price. A marine lender analyst puts it this way: when rates move up 2 percentage points, we lose a chunk of buyers overnight. They do not disappear. They just wait or walk away. Financing, once a simple bridge between desire and ownership, has become the first bottleneck in the cash conversion process, setting the stage for further friction downstream. Insurance now stands as a critical checkpoint in the boat sale process, often surfacing only after financing hurdles are cleared. In hurricane-prone states, insurers have raised deductibles to $2,500 or even $5,000 for mid-value hulls, with additional hurricane-specific deductibles layered on top. Premiums for coastal boats have climbed to 8 to 12% of hull value annually, making ownership more expensive than many buyers anticipate. For a $120,000 cruiser in Florida, this means annual premiums nearing $10,000 and a $4,000 deductible before coverage applies. A marine broker based in the Gulf Coast describes deals unraveling late in the game. Even after a buyer secures financing, the required marine survey can derail everything. In 2025, surveys flagged issues in 7 to 9% of used boat transactions, most often for older hulls or engines past recommended service hours. When a survey turns up problems, insurers may refuse to bind coverage or offer terms so costly that buyers walk away. These late-stage failures add a layer of uncertainty and frustration, especially for sellers who thought the finish line was in sight. Age caps further complicate the picture. Many insurers decline comprehensive coverage for boats older than 30 years, limiting resale options and creating a soft ceiling on the used market. The result is a market where insurance, not just price or financing, quietly kills momentum. For dealers, every failed deal means another boat sitting on the lot, compounding cash flow strain and pushing inventory even further from liquidity. Dealer ledgers now tell a different story than the full lots and bustling showrooms suggest. Inventory to sales ratios have climbed from an industry average of 1.2 to 1 in 2021 to around 1.6 to 1 by late 2024, with some segments, like pontoons and mid-size cruisers, exceeding 1.8 to 1 in certain regions. This means more boats are sitting unsold for longer, tying up capital that once moved swiftly through the business. Nearly 22% of all new boat inventory on dealer lots by mid-2025 consists of 2022 models, a sharp rise from just 12% 3 years prior. Each unsold boat carries a monthly interest burden. Floorplan financing rates for new inventory now average 6 to 7%, with added origination fees. For a dealer holding $1 million in unsold stock, that translates to $60,000 to $70,000 per year in interest alone, before considering insurance, storage, and depreciation. Manufacturer and lender turnover clauses typically require inventory to move within 12 to 18 months. But as boats age on the lot, dealers face mounting costs and shrinking margins. This cash squeeze is not about falling sticker prices. It is about the growing cost of holding and the risk of being stuck with assets that cannot be easily or quickly converted to cash. The structural burden of aged inventory and high carrying costs is where liquidity quietly disappears first, even as the surface of the market appears busy. Private sellers who bought during the 2021 boom now find themselves listing boats into a crowded marketplace. Online used boat listings surged 79% from January 2023 to January 2024, overwhelming traditional resale channels. The result is a glut of nearly new vessels competing for a shrinking pool of buyers. Many owners face a hard reality. Boats purchased at pandemic highs have lost 20 to 40% of their value. One seller, who paid top dollar for a 28-foot cruiser in 2021, now watches similar models stack up unsold, each new listing nudging prices lower. The pressure from excess supply is unmistakable. Dealers and sellers now find themselves anchored to the price peaks of 2021, with 62% still using those highs as their reference point for new listings. Buyers, meanwhile, are in no hurry. 61% say they are waiting for better terms or simply holding off. This mutual hesitation creates a standstill where boats remain in inventory and showrooms see more browsers than buyers. Surveys reflect the mood. Most dealers report that the biggest obstacle is not a lack of interest, but a market-wide reluctance to move first. The result is transaction paralysis, where both sides wait and liquidity quietly slips away. The impact of this liquidity gridlock is not evenly distributed. Dealers carrying heavy floorplan debt absorb the first blow. Brunswick, the largest U.S. manufacturer, reported a $1.16 billion revenue shortfall in 2025. Owners who financed at peak prices face negative equity as values reset. Yet, not every segment suffers. Yacht sales grew 1.8% year over year, buoyed by cash buyers who can act quickly, while others wait for financing. One recent example is a cash buyer who closed on a 48-foot yacht in less than a week, sidestepping stalled approvals and insurance hurdles. In this market, liquidity favors those with capital on hand, while leverage magnifies risk for everyone else. Today's boat market isn't dead, it's quietly selective. Liquidity now pools where leverage is lowest and financing is strongest. For buyers and sellers alike, price tells only half the story. In a market defined by selective liquidity, understanding what moves cash, not just what moves boats, is everything. Share your perspective below.